one of the songs I teach like within the first few weeks or month to most of my students is Crazy Train. Partly because it seems hard, and this is a little bit of a simplified way to do it, but it's not really that bad, so it builds confidence pretty quick. The first part's going to go like this. So basically you're going to go like this. Take your first finger and put it on 2. And one thing, like when you play on guitar, like a lot of times you want to be like way up on the tips of your fingers, but right here, you don't really want to be up like that, so it can be more flat. But push firm and make sure your fingers are firm, like are tight. So 2 2, and take your pinky, keeping it firm, and put it out on 5. So 5th fret, and make sure it's next to the fret, like not on top of it and not right there, just right next to it. And then 0 0. So we had 2 2, one more time. 2 2, 5 5 with your pinky, stretch it out. 0 0, 2 2, 5 5 on the A string, and 0 0. 2 2 again, 5 5 on the E string down here, 0 0, 2 2 on the low E. Then take your first finger and move it up to here, 5 5, 7 7. I actually like to just play it once and slide down. So I'll do that again really slow. So the one thing that can cause confusion is whether we're on the 5th fret here, on the low E, or 5th fret on the A string. So the first time through it's going to be here, second time here. But let's play it really slow. So here we go. So I'll do it one last time, and I'll say the fret numbers and the string that I'm on. So like low E or A. And one other thing is, like at this point when I'm teaching in person, I'll make sure that my students' fingers are tight. So one thing when you're playing guitar, you don't want your fingers to go like this, like all loose. You don't ever want to see them bending, like floppy, like that. See, my fingers are firm. So even though, like I'm not, like I said, you don't need to be on the tip. You don't need to be up like that. I've had students try to do that. Because when you're playing up high on higher strings, your fingers get more up like that. See, they're up more, but down here, they're still firm, but they don't need to be up like that. And one way you can get this feeling is imagine you're hanging on a pull-up bar with all your weight, and imagine what your fingers would feel like, and that's how firm. You want them really firm. And it will make things easier, and also don't slide over like this. Ready? Don't like slide your hand. So the trick is make sure your thumb is low enough down on the neck and in between your fingers like that. So if your thumb comes up, you won't be able to make this stretch. So when my thumb's up high, I can only stretch right there. So make sure your thumb's low and your fingers are firm. So I'll say it again, the intro, and we'll move on to the harder part. So 2 2, 5 5 on the low E, 0 0, 2 2 again on low E. Now you gotta go on the 5 5 on the A string. And low E again, open. 2 2 on low E, 5 5 on low E, 0 0 on low E, 2 2 on low E, and then 5 5 on the A string, 7, you slide down. Now the next part is the part that's most well known. It's like this. I'll do it fast once. Now one thing, I'm not doing any power chords in this song, and that's just because it makes it harder. So if someone wants to see that way, I could do that later. But when you're starting out, I'm trying to make this as easy That's possible. You don't want to worry about that. So that's why we're doing single notes here. So this part is going to be tricky if you're a beginner, but I've been able to get people, they're like their third or fourth lesson to be able to do this. So here's the trick. Ready? First you got to plant this finger here. For the first half, there's going to be two halves. So for the first half, you're going to plant this finger here. So ready? 2, 2. Now keeping that finger there, stretch your ring finger to the 4th fret on the A string. If you're having a hard time getting it there, you can actually grab your finger. While this is planted, just grab this finger and put it there where it needs to go. So 2, 2 on the low E. Then you pluck that 4th fret on the A string. Then go back to 2 on the low E. Then you're going to take your pinky and stretch it out to the 5th fret on the A string. And again, if you're having a hard time, you can grab it and put it there where it needs to go. Just try to keep these fingers firm. Then go back to 2 on low E. Now lift your pinky up. And you play 4, 2. So give your hand a break and then try it again. Get this finger planted and it's not going to move. So you're going to play 2, 2. And then you can get this finger, if you need to, grab it, put it on the 4th fret. On the A string, pluck it, go back to 2 on the low E. Then take the pinky, if you need to, grab it, put it on the 5th fret on the A string. Pluck that one, then go back to 2. Then just lift your pinky up, your other finger's where it needs to be. Pluck the 4th fret and back to 2. So far we have this. So that's the first half. So make sure you can do that. 2, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2. The good thing about learning this is if you master it, then you'll be good at power chords. So one last time. 2, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2. Then that's the first half. The second half, take this finger that was planted there on 2 and plant it on 2 on the A string. And now you're going to go like this. Hit that note, 2 on the A string. Take your pinky, if you need to, grab it, put it on 5 on the low E. Make sure it's right next to the fret. Pluck that one. Then take your ring finger, put it on 4, lift your pinky up. Then go back with your pinky on 5. And lift both of them up. Pluck 2 again. Then put your pinky on 5, 4, and 0. So the reason why I'm grabbing my fingers a lot is because I'm trying to show how I actually have to teach this to beginners. And it's totally fine. Grab your fingers, because after a few days of doing it, you won't have to do that. The trick is keep these fingers firm. So don't let them go limp like that. That's a really bad habit. So just keep them tight like that. So one more time, second half. 2 on the A string. Then 5, pinky on 5 on the low E. While keeping this finger there, don't let this finger move. Make sure it's planted. Same thing with first half, make sure it was planted. So here we go, planted on 2, 2. Take your pinky, put on 5. Take your ring finger, put on 4. Take pinky, put on 5. Then lift them both up, pluck that 2 again that was already planted. Pinky has to go down on 5 again. Ring finger on 4, and then 0. So let me play that part without saying anything. And now I'll say the numbers. 2, 5, 4, 5, 2, 5, 4, 0. Faster, it'd be. Okay, so now I'll put them both together. So first half, you gotta plant your finger here. It was 2, 2. Make sure this finger goes on 4. And back to 2, which is already where it needs to be because it's planted. Pinky has to go on 5. Back to 2, that's already planted. Lift your pinky up. 4 should already be there. Back to 2. That's the first half. Then move the finger up to 2 on the A string, plant it there, 2, 5, you gotta plant your pinky out, plant this finger, sorry, so we got 2, pinky has to go down to 5, 4, pinky on 5, lift them both up, play 2, down to 5, 4, and 0. So I'll play the whole thing slow and then fast. Here we go, first half. Faster. Okay, so that's it. Then you do that, basically do it 3 times. So that's 3 times. Both parts 3 times like I just did. And then you do the first half again. 2, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2. And then you go 5, 5, 7, 7 on the A string. Actually 5, 5, 7. So that should be this, the last bit. Actually twice. You do want to do it twice, sorry. Yeah, you do it twice. I got confused because the first time I like to do it once with the slide down. Okay, so that's a pretty hard part. But again, like even if you've only been playing for a few weeks, if you make sure to keep your fingers firm and like grab them and put them in place, it's totally possible to learn this. And it's really not that bad. And the good thing about this riff is you learn a power chord shape. So you'll get that down, and you'll learn this minor pattern, which later becomes really important. Okay, so the last part, this part's the hardest, but if you see this trick I'm going to show, it's not too bad. Alright, let me just play it, because this part's tricky, and then I'll explain it. I'll do it fast first, and then we'll do it slow. Okay, so it kind of looks hard. It's a little intimidating, but it's really not that bad. So what you do is take your ring finger, go on the D string, and slide it up to 7, and then just plant it there on 7. That's the first thing you got to make sure that you can do. So ring finger, 7th fret on the D string. So get that there, and then take your middle finger, and we're going to make like a staircase going up. So 7, and then middle finger on 6 on the G string. See, we're kind of going up like staircase, and then 5 on the B string. So it's 7, 6, 5. So make sure you can make that shape. This is a major shape. It's one of the most common shapes, one of the most common triad shapes. And take your hand off, put it back on. 7, make sure you get that. And then 6, 5. Take it off, put it back on. 7, 6, 5. So make sure you got that. Okay, so taking your fingers off and putting them back on is how you can train your muscles to learn chords faster. So once you got it, then you go like this. You hit the A string 3 times. So A string is open right now. So, and then you're going to strum these three notes that you have held down. So we got. So make sure you can do that. Take your fingers off. Do it a few times. Pause this video. Make sure you can do this. That's an A major chord. Okay, so once you got that, I'll do it one more time. Then slide this shape to the left a half step, which is 1 fret, everything to the left a half step. So don't think too hard about it, just slide it over a half step. The frets end up becoming 6, 5, 4, but you shouldn't even think about that. You should just think, alright, it was here where we wanted it, 7, 6, 5. Slide it down. But then we're not done yet. What you need to do after you slide it down Just keep this finger here. You can hold it down for a second. This is a good way to train your fingers. Lift up these other two. Don't lift that one up. And switch the strings those two fingers were on. See, they were like that. Lift them up and switch the strings they were on. So this finger went from the G string to the B string. This one went from the B string to the G string. So now we have the right shape. 6, 4, 5. It should sound like this. So this is confusing unless you really take the time to. I'll do it one more time. Start with this shape, this major shape. 7, 6, 5. Slide it a half step. Hold this finger down if you need to. Lift these fingers up and switch the strings they're on. Okay, so you got that. So then you're going to hit the A string 3 times again. And strum those 3. Now it's an E major chord with A in the bass. This little guy is an E major chord. This note is A. So it's called E over A. Okay, and then we got to take this shape and slide it 2 frets to the left. Now one thing you'll notice as you do that is the guitar gets a lot wider. So the shape is going to feel way more stretched out. So now we should have 4, the 4th fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. So make sure when you slide down, your fingers don't go like something like this. Or like this. See this finger didn't slide over, so you got to make sure you keep that shape stretched out like it needs to. So 4, 2, 3. And you're going to hit the A string 3 times, and then strum it. And that's a D major chord. This is D over A. So let's try what we got so far. Just shake your hand out. Put this finger on 7 on the D string. 7, 6, 5. And hit this 3 times. Strum it. Slide it a half step. Keep this finger down. Switch these 2 fingers. Hit this 3 times. The A string, the 5th string. Strum it. Now slide the shape 2 frets to the left. That's called a whole step when you do 2 frets. Hit the A string 3 times. Now the last chord's real easy. If you're on electric, on acoustic, you have to push harder. Lay this finger flat in a bar on 2, starting on the D string. Make sure it doesn't touch the A string. 2, 2, 2. But it's going to lay on all 3. And also, if you want to be more advanced, make it so it's muting this. You shouldn't be able to hear it. It should be muting. So we got 2, 2, 2. 2 on the D, 2 on G, and 2 on B. This is an A major chord. This is how, as you get better at guitar, you'll want to use this type of A major a lot. Then you hit the A string 3 times and strum it. If you're on acoustic and this hurts, because this can be a little hard if you're a beginner, take your middle finger and put it on top of that one so you have more strength. Still the same frets are being held down, but on acoustic, if you have thick strings, sometimes it helps put this finger on top and push harder. Just make sure that your finger doesn't accidentally touch the A string. That'll be wrong. Also, like I said, make sure you don't strum up to there. That'll sound weird. So again, this part, 3rd finger on 7, make the staircase, 7, 6, 5. Hit this 3 times. Slide it a half step. Keep this finger down, switch those fingers, switch the strings. Slide this a whole step, 2 frets to the left. And the bar. So here it is slow. Pretty hard. That's like kind of an intermediate, getting into intermediate territory with the shapes. But I've been surprised how many beginners can do it if you just take it real slow. Like I said, like some students I've taught could do this in like their first month of playing because they just really want to learn a song like this. And they just do it slow. Just make sure you get 3rd finger on 7, make the staircase. And then you just build up speed. Don't worry about speed. Don't try to go and be sloppy. Just do it like as slow as I was showing it. Just really slow. If you need to, you grab your fingers, put them where they need to go. So here it is fast again, a little bit faster, but don't be, I mean, I've played this a ton of times, that's why I can do it fast, but I just want you so you can hear it. It should sound like this. Notice how I'm going so fast? It's partly my fingers know where to go. They're trained to do that. But this also, if you want to try it, you can go like this, down, down, up, and then you strum it down, and then down, down, up, strum, down, up, down, strum, down, up, down, strum. So that really is partly where the speed's coming from, is the down, up. See there, I was being sloppy actually. I need to make sure I keep the spacing right. And that's it. So there's the first 3 parts of Crazy Train. After that, it gets pretty hard to simplify the song. And also it's not as catchy. Like most people, what they know are these 3 parts. It's a super fun song, and also you get a lot of good guitar knowledge out of this. You'll get the power chord, minor scale, and you get these triad shapes. And this cool way to do an A major chord, which in rock music, a lot of times you don't want to go like, you just want to be like. See what I'm doing? There's a lot of bars. So this will help you with the rock style. People do this all the time. Either for an A major like we were doing, or an A power chord. There's A power chord, here's A major. So that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay.